All right, invigorating the root chakra from the perspective of the divine feminine. Nowadays, we have some wonderful progression in terms of the fluidity of relationships coming from honesty and actual natural attraction, not having to have arranged marriages. But somewhere in the process, we lost some very important things to the divine feminine. And mainly that is a container, a sacred container. So the only sacred container that we all have agreed upon is marriage, and yet marriage has been contaminated by the lack of protection of women in terms of all of these rights that go in the favor of men all over the world, including the fact that young girls can be married off before they're even of age to vote or drive or drink or anything. So yet containership of the divine love is a very essential ingredient to love blooming and blossoming for the feminine. So what does that mean for us now today? What it means is that we still need vows. We still need them, but not the kind that are generic, that are supposed to last a whole lifetime with things like, okay, love you forever, till we die, and sickness and health. Those are beautiful vows, by the way, but how realistic are they when we need vows for the day in and out of daily life? Because if somebody's mean to you and they're with you your whole life, you'd rather not have them there when you're sick. So the vows we need, the containership that the sacred feminine needs for the root chakra. Root chakra is about feeling secure, safe, and having a home, and a way to put down roots and community, and all these other things we'll get into soon. But the very first thing is for her to know, is she in anything? And for the feminine within the man to know this too. Am I in anything with her? There are agreements, intention agreements that you can make that are present here and now, that are living vows that only last so long, that have a beginning, middle, and end, and a purpose for allowing you to have the root chakra spinning in polarity between the two of you. You see, when there's no commitments of any kind, and there's no agreement that you're in something, whether or not it's, a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, or if it's polygamy, or if it's being married and being very monogamous, whatever the agreement is. I'm not going to get into all those types of agreements now, because it doesn't matter to the divine feminine which agreement it is, as long as it's honest to her heart and true to her being. But what does matter is that there is an agreement. There's an acknowledgement we're in something, so that then she's got a right to say when something needs to be communicated or she needs help with something. As long as she's in nothing, she knows that it's a way of the guy getting everything on his terms, because he'll get the sex that he wants, he'll get the this beautiful home he gets to come to and never have to clean it. And when her emotions come up, he'll be like, well, what's the big deal? I never said I was in anything. Never promised you a rose garden. This is a horrible thing, to not have any rights, and to have given your sacred body and opened up your heart to somebody who doesn't think they're in anything and has no intention of sharing with you on a deeper level. So, but what are you in, and what do you want to be in, is your own business. So to do intention agreements, I recommend you get out a pen and paper and you both write these down together, so you're both writing down the same thing, and you're both going to sign each other's piece of paper. You're only going to make it last as long as it feels comfortable to you. I recommend about 3 months, because 3 months is a cycle of deepening, and within 3 months a lot happens, and you might want to change what you've agreed to. So when you create an intention agreement, living vow, paper, contract, it's a sacred contract. And you're going to put everything on there that's most important in the human realms. There's the spiritual realm, the intellectual realm, the home, finances, health, beauty, love, sexuality, romance, uh, um, children, life visions that you want to work on together, creative projects, all these kind of things. You want to have each one of those as a domain and make an agreement, a very clear, simple intention between the two of you in the domain of communication. For example, we're going to stay in touch. This is how much we're going to stay in touch. And this is a big one. I would say even start with this one, because people get so hurt when one person's rhythm is to be in touch every 3 days and the other person's rhythm is to be in touch 3 times a day. And you say, you don't love me because you this. And the other person's like, you're obsessed. You don't give me space, right? So you bring it up into the clarity of, well, what's your rhythm for staying connected? Well, if you wait, 3 days, I'm just not going to feel like I'm in a relationship. And the other person's like, well, if it's 3 times a day, I'm going to feel bombarded. I'm going to not want to be. What's the compromise that works for the two of you, where you're both growing and stretching because of each other? Maybe it's every 2 days. Maybe it's a call every other day that's a long call, and it's being in touch once a day. Whatever it is, you work it out for each other's deal breakers. Like where is the level at which a person is willing to be engaged with you and not, where it stops being worth it to them. Because a lot of people, what they do is they'll pledge monogamy when they're not getting anything really that they need, and then it's like, wow, it's the feeling of, wow, I've put my whole life on hold for somebody who's not even here for me. Why am I monogamous to them? So if you really want monogamy especially, you really need intention agreements on each level. Sexuality. How often do you each want to be engaged in that? What is your libido? Well, mine's every day. What's your libido? Mine's once a week. Once again, you're finding the balance. Okay, well, let's make this intention that we're going to have sacred sexuality that's really going to be profound and deep once a week, and we'll do quickie whatever fun things that happen along the way 2 other times. It's one way to go. All right, that's a little lame, but but you're going to get more and more courageous with your intention agreements to each other as time goes on, and you feel the success level of what you're doing, how successful, how great you all are at keeping your agreements is something you're going to discover as you keep going, that really you can keep your sacred agreements to each other. Then you're going to check in. So you've gone through each domain. Intellectually, we're going to, read this book together at night, and read the newspaper together, or listen to this course online and then discuss it later. Creatively, we're going to host a dinner, socially. We're going to have a social hosted dinner, and we're going to create this beautiful experience for our friends. Remember that sexual energy always needs to give birth to more than just the experience. It needs to give birth to something. So if it's not going to be children, it's going to be something that you give as a couple to the world. And that could be a book you're writing. It could be just dinners you're hosting. So you're going through the domains in every one of these categories, okay? Spirituality and creativity and home and finances, and your goals to help each other with your finances, your health, your sexuality, your staying in touch, your fidelity, how faithful do you want to be, are you in monogamy or not, it's up to you. You make this whole intention agreement, you've both written it out, and you sign it, and you say, we're doing this for 3 months or however long, and we're checking in at the end of that to see how we did and what we want to change and what is or isn't working. Wow. Now you're in something. At least you're in something for 3 months. Okay? It's not like you're married forever. But the desire for a sacred marriage, to really be married, is something else we're going to be talking about in this course, because that is a huge, huge, beautiful part of the divine feminine is the innate need for a truly secure, strong container. But how do you create one that's real and not contrived by society, government, and churches, and meddled with by them, especially where the patriarchy has come in and this collective unconscious comes over the masculine when he marries, where suddenly he starts being abusive or putting her on the shelf or not feeling like he has any reason to chase anymore, so he takes her for granted. There's a lot of things that many women report that when they get married, it's just not happily ever after at all. And that's a lot why I'm doing this course, isn't it? Because we want to get you to really have the happily ever after. Of course it exists. It's just that it must include what the divine feminine really needs. And a lot of those vows that the churches, the governments and such put you through, they're a little grandiose, and they're a little out of touch with the moment and the truth of where you're at moment to moment, month to month, year to year, and how you change and how you need to be in an intimate dialogue with what you're really agreeing, and how you're going to feed each other's energy, how you're going to flourish, water each other's roses, how you're going to receive each other, and what you're in it for. Basically, I very much recommend that you're in it for fun, that the whole thing is fun, and that, you know, in all the difficult things through sickness and health and poverty and wealth, that still the whole idea is not to succeed somehow, to get some fancy house and big career, and that's the symbol of success. Make instead that success is quality of life. It is how you feel together. It is how you live in those moments and are able to let go of other crap and share with each other and love each other. Okay, so intention agreements will allow the sacred container to begin of trusting each other and being devoted to each other, and make sure you have spirituality in there, some spiritual practice every day that you do. We'll get into that soon. Okay, love, I'm excited for you. This is a very fun project to create your intention agreements, your living vows. Living vows.